Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility. Listen, everywhere you look in this world, wherever there is light, there will always be shadows to be found as well. As long as there is a concept of victors, the vanquished will also exist. This selfish intent of wanting to preserve peace initiates war, and hatred is born in order to protect love. There are nexus causal relationships that cannot be separated. There are many types of monsters in this world. Monsters who will not show themselves and who cause trouble. Monsters who abduct children. Monsters who devour dreams. Monsters who suck blood. And monsters who always tell lies. Lying monsters are a real nuisance. They are much more cunning than other monsters. They pose as humans even though they have no understanding of the human heart. They eat even though they never experience hunger. They study even though they have no interest in academics. They seek friendships even though they do not know how to love. If I were to encounter such a monster, I would likely be eaten by it. Because in truth, I am that monster.
All men are not created equal. Some are born swifter of foot, some with greater beauty, some are born into poverty, and others are born sick and feeble, both in birth and in upbringing in sheer scope of ability. Every human is inherently different. Yes, that is why people discriminate against one another, which is why there is a struggle, competition, and unfaltering march of progress. Inequality is not wrong. Equality is. What of the EU who made equality a right? Rabble politics by a popularity contest. The Chinese Federation with its equal distribution of wealth, a nation of lazy dullards. But not our beloved Britannia. We fight, we compete. Evolution is continuous. Britannia alone moves forward, advancing steadily into the future. Even the passing of my son Clovis demonstrates Britannia's unswerving commitment to progress. We will fight on. We shall struggle, compete, plunder, and dominate in the end. The future shall be ours. All hail Britannia!
Oh, I see. That is noble of you. That would be justice. However, what about my family, my friends, my village? They suffer the same fate as this village at the hands of you Hidden Leaf Ninja. How is it fair to only let you people preach about peace and justice? Once the Land of Fire and the Hidden Leaf have grown too big to protect their national interest, they forced feudal clans to wage war against each other and profited from it. Otherwise, the people of the village would have starved. As it happened, our little nation and its villages became the battlefields where the great nations waged their war. Each time they did, our nation was ravaged and laid to waste. After many such battles, the great nation stabilized, but our smaller nation suffered, and it barely recovered. You and I both seek the very same thing. We both want to achieve the peace that Jiraiya-sensei envisioned. You and I are the same. We're both motivated by our desire for peace and justice. The justice that I have delivered against the Leaf Village is no different from what you're trying to do to me. Everyone feels the same pain of losing something dear. You and I have both experienced that pain. You strive for your justice and I strive for mine. We're both just ordinary men who have been driven to seek vengeance in the same name of justice. And if one comes to call vengeance justice, such justice will only breed further vengeance and trigger a vicious cycle of hatred. Right now we live in such a cycle. I know the past can foretell our future. It's the same as our history. So we believe that human beings cannot simply understand each other, and they never will. The shinobi world of ours is ruled by hatred and hatred alone.
The perfect being, you said? Well, I have to tell you the honest truth. As I see it, in this world, nothing perfect exists. It may be a cliche after all, but it's the way things are. That's precisely why ordinary men pursue the concept of perfection. It's infatuation. But ultimately, I have to ask myself, what is the true being of perfection? And the answer I came up with was nothing. Not one thing. The truth of the matter is, I despise perfection. If someone is truly perfect, that's it. The bottom line becomes there's no room for imagination, no space for intelligence or ability or improvement. Do you understand? To men of science like us, perfection is a dead end, a condition of hopelessness. Always strive to be better than anything that came before you, but not perfect. Scientists agonize over the attempt to achieve perfection. That's the kind of creatures we are. We take joy in trying to exceed our grasp and trying to reach for something that in the end we have to admit may in fact be unreachable. In other words, you may think that we operate on the same level, but you are wrong. The moment you talked about perfection, you embraced an impossible concept and already lost to me. That is, of course, if you are indeed a scientist at all.